and welcome back, grade 12 learners, for our discussion today in Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. So we are now in quarter 2, week 5, lesson 5. This is once again your teacher, Miss M. Magdadaro from Tagaytay City National High School. And for today's discussion is focusing on MELC 4, which is to enumerate the objectives you really want to achieve and to define the projects. So at the end of the discussion, everyone is able to first explain what the Otherworld means from Friedrich Nietzsche. And the second one is to create an action plan about your life. And the last one, to recognize that every human should live life to the fullest. We'll be discovering more about these objectives, so join with me as we're going to discuss our lesson today. In our previous discussion, we learned about the different forms of society and how these different forms of society eventually transform the human relations when it comes to the knowledge, the laws, economy, and technology. A very important question that we have to answer today is, how do you define death? In your own perspective or opinion, how do you define death? Well, science and religion have different definitions when it comes to death. Like in the perspective of science, it says that death is an ending of life. So it's like when a man stops breathing, he becomes dead. Or when the heart stops beating, a man is dead. So like in hospitals, man is dead when flatline occurs already, and man is dead if that man has no signs of life anymore. Yet, in a religious perspective, it also defines death as a gateway to a new life. To some doctrines, like the Catholic doctrine and some other religions, they believe that death is the beginning of new life. Like if a man is good, he goes up to heaven and he receives a good karma. So he is exalted from all other creatures. And when a man is bad, he goes down to hell and receives also bad karma. So this person, this dead bad person will be neglected by all and ignored by whoever they call God. But let us talk about, how does philosophy define about death? So Friedrich Nietzsche is very, very famous with his line, God is dead. Did he try to describe God as a dead one? So Nietzsche is an atheist. It means he doesn't believe in any God. But in a society, in particular human beings, according to him, are the one who actually killed their own God by killing the true essence of their religion. So, according to his book, Twilight of the Idols, like when a person or a certain Christian gives up its faith, so he also pulls the right to Christian morality out from under one's feet. And this morality is by no means self-evident anymore, because he believes that Christianity is like a system of belief, and this whole view of things thought out together. So if we break one of the concept of it, or one of the laws that comprise our faith or our religion, it is like also we break the whole thing, which means that this could also eliminate the whole faith that Christians have. That's how he describes God is dead. He said this famous line as actually a reaction of his experience of early system of Christianity that makes it far different from what Jesus wants the church to be in the original essence. And this is a good start to begin with Nietzsche's philosophy about death. So according to him, it has something to do with the Christian belief system during his time, and all his philosophies are out against this kind of system. So for him, death for him can be best understood with the concept of what we mean Otherworld. So this is where the term Otherworld has brought about. So for Nietzsche, the other world is nothing but a fiction created by Christians themselves. So knowing that death is certain, people tend to focus more on the belief system rather than living an authentic way of life. It's like some people may choose that it's better to die because after death there is life and there is a good life ahead of them when they die. So according to Vincent, Nietzsche cannot accept that people are just willing to trade this world for a world which is a product of human imagination and suffering. So, as a notorious critique of Christianity, he claims that the concept of an afterlife in the other world serves as a comfort to those who are weak and suffering in this world. In short, people would like to choose or stick on what the religion says about their lives, and there is an incorrect interpretation or exercise of the true essence of Christianity here. Thus, Nietzsche, one has to take away the concept of the other world and focus on living life to the fullest. Instead of like saying that you want to solve all your challenges in life, you want to answer all your problems and trials or challenges that you're facing in life by trying to end or having an end of your life, you have to focus on what you can do while you are still alive. So the question is, how do you think we should live our life to the fullest, despite of all the uncertainties in life or all the struggles or the pain that we are experiencing? So to Nietzsche, death is a certain thing. Now he is asking, have you examined your life before you face death? Now if yes, you may ask once again, what is the meaning of your life? And it's a very significant question for everyone nowadays. Now, how do you consider your way of living in this world? Would always fall back to the question of what is the meaning of your life and what is really the purpose of your life or your existence. So basically, we create our own authentic life according to him. Now, in life, we also realize that there are three fundamental things that we have to consider, which are very significant in each of the stage of life. Like, there is like an education, your career, and of course, your own passion and happiness. With these three, you can prepare your life before death. You can pass through your academic endeavors, to your generation, and you coexist with other humans as you take the career path of your life, and you do what makes you happy, build a family, and create history, leaving legacy. So what do you plan before you leave this world? Is a very significant question or important question that we have to ask ourselves before we die. What do you plan for your life? What is your goal, or what are your goals in life before you face death? In activity 1, you are asked to write down all the things you want to do with your life, guided by these three fundamental things in man's life. So as you write them down, always bear in mind these goals as your goals, and you do this because it is what you really want for your life. So I want you to think of those things that you really want to do in your life before you face death. Now, Nietzsche also shared that instead of focusing on our death in the future, instead of worrying of how we should end this life that was given to us, now we have to focus first on living our life to the fullest here on earth. This is certainly the essence of what Friedrich Nietzsche wants us to realize in his philosophy about death. So according to him, the other world is just an illusion that makes people accept their lowly condition here on earth and somehow gives them hope that this other world would grant them a life that is better from the life that they live in the present. So meaning to say, they try to put their lives on the hands of religion, giving all what they have for a belief that it is ambiguous and neglects what is essential in the present. And somehow, in some religions, would somehow agree with this, because we believe that it's significant that we should live our life to the fullest and fulfilling our duties and responsibilities and what God wants us to do while we are still alive, rather than focusing how we end or when should we end our life. When we fulfill our mission in this life, we have to think of living our life in every moment. So, according to Vincent's, Nietzsche was very against with the idea of the other world because this idea would lead people to just experience the difficulties in this world and giving up easily because they hope for a better life in another world instead. And sometimes they tend to forget that during his time, people experienced famine, war, and different levels of social injustices. But we never can blame about these people who had these suffering in their lives and experience also injustices, especially when you are in the midst of war. But people during this time experienced despair, and they thought that only religion can make their lives better. But the problem is, what they ignored during that time was their potentialities and possibilities that will somehow give them a very, very positive life instead of focusing on how they end their life in order to experience the other world. So it's very significant to live at the moment, considering all the talents or the skills, abilities that God have given you, and try to multiply them. Use them in order for you to multiply them so that you can be a productive person and an improved person that could become a useful member of the society. Focus on what you can do today, what you can do more, and what we can do better in this present life. So we have to understand that when he says God is dead, it means that during the time, in his time, people actually killed the essence of being a Christian or killed the essence of a Christian life by telling that God is indeed dead for those who are in despair. Like, there will be no changes that they could experience. There is nothing that they can do out from their situation because of the idea that life in a better world or life in the other world is always the best life that you can have. So to dig deeper about this, let's consider how we should live life to the fullest. So what are the things that we have to consider for reflection? I want you to remember some tips on how we should live life to the fullest. First one is to set your goals and keep looking at it. So once you know your mission in life, your goal in life, you have to set your goals in order to achieve these. So you need to have a plan for your life. A planned life is always better than come what may philosophy, right? So when you have goals to settle, you are capable to stretch your possibilities, which eventually would lead you to living your life at the present. Next is, to live life is to embrace one's essence and existence. There are many people who are in despair, even in our time today during pandemic. We feel discouraged, we feel empty, sometimes we feel depressed, we are in despair really. Think that life is meaningless already to some, but that is not true, because to live your life is to showcase your essence to the world. So you have to let the world know what wonderful being you are, and the world should know your worth as a human being, as a human person. What is your worth? And everybody should know it, and you have to show it by embracing the essence and the existence of life. Third tip in living life to the fullest is to become optimistic in any way. So being positive is very significant at all times. There are times when you experience like you are in a hard situation or you become a lowly kind of person. So these are just some of the negative thoughts that would really drown you for sure. So we have to practice a mantra of positivity. You have to smile away the problems that you may encounter, and you have to deal them positively by thinking of some thoughts that would lead you to the possible solutions of your problems, because they say If a problem is created, there is always a solution to it. So never worry about life. Just be positive at all times, because your problem doesn't stay forever. It will just pass by. So once you give up, then you wouldn't experience the beautiful things that lie ahead of you when you are going to surpass all those trials you had. And of course, you have to do your best in all things. It's very significant to make 100% extra effort on all things you do. It may either be big or small. The outcome doesn't matter. What counts most is the attitude towards work. Whether you are assigned in a little task and you have done it in 100% full effort, then it's just the same thing of accomplishing at the same time big task, but you also have done your 100% out of it. So what counts most is your attitude towards work. Once you have done some task perfectly and successfully, then you're ready to receive or to accept bigger challenges or bigger tasks ahead of you. So it's always significant to always put 100% of your effort in all things that you do. Just like a saying of the saint, be extraordinary in ordinary things. And all circumstances may seem ordinary for us, but to make it extraordinary, it's one step closer to living life to the fullest. So it's very significant to always consider your day an extraordinary day, your personality as an extraordinary one, your effort as an extraordinary one, in order for you to experience extraordinary experiences in your life at the same time. So that ends our discussion for today. Once again, this is your teacher, Ma'am M. Magdadaro. So I'm glad that you have been with me all throughout our discussions from lessons 1 to 5, and we're ready for our lesson 6, and I will be releasing our next video next school year 2022. I know that you're ready and very excited for your incoming Christmas vacation. So don't forget to hand in or submit your task for week 5 this Friday. And I will see you in our next learning video next year. Enjoy your vacation, and I'll see you next year.